Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Euro Fantasy Football and welcome to my video. In today's video, I just want to chill out and go through every single nation and look at some of the best options for us for match day 1. I know that you guys like these kind of videos, so drop a like on the video and let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. I'm very close to that 21,000 subscriber mark. I think I only need like 200 more subscribers. So if you haven't already, please do. I've got a lot more videos left before the deadline. And don't forget, I will be creating videos throughout the tournament. Let's just see what happens. Let's have a little bit of fun. And hopefully we'll get a good rank at the end. Now I'm going to go through each nation and I'm going to look at the last like 5 or 6 fixtures and just to see how well they did. So for Austria, they lost against England 1-0. This was a friendly match. In the World Cup qualifications, they lost against Denmark 4-0. They won against Faroe Islands 3-1. They drew against Scotland 2-2. And the other one is against Norway 1-1. So, and I can keep going. Austria won against Northern Ireland 2-1. And they won against Romania 1-0. So, a mixed bag of results there. Let's just have a quick look at some of their players. Just going to do like a quick little overview. Pick out like really good players for match day 1 or players that I think that could do well. You know, we gained a lot of information. We know a lot more players right now. And Alaba, you know, he's not like the best player in the world that is going to get us a lot of points. You know, he does play... He's got that defensive mind, you know, for Bayern Munich, plays in centre-back position. But for Austria, he plays in the midfield role. It does come back a lot, though. 5.5, 15% owned. Really good fixture. North Macedonia. That's why a lot of people are going for him. I got him in my team as well to kind of help me out to get that, like, cheap player that actually plays. He is definitely the one to kind of bring in if you're going to go for an Austrian player. Sabitzer is another player that a lot of people will be looking at. Only 1% though. It's that price tag of 8 million. I think there are other players to kind of get that could do really well, like Jota, that is around that price, like 8.5. Ferran Torres. It's just there's a lot of other midfielders that are around that price tag that could do better. If we move on to Belgium, actually let me just do it like this so it doesn't get confusing. Just going to have a quick look at their like last 5 fixtures. So Belgium drew against Greece 1-1. That was just a friendly. Belarus 8-0. I think this was where they just changed their whole team around. They drew against Czech Republic. They won against Wales. This was in the World Cup qualifications, a 3-1. They won against Denmark 4-2, which is a good thing to see because in match day 2, Belgium will be playing against Denmark. So they beat them in the Nations League 4-2. And let me just have a quick look. Tielemans scored there. Lukaku with 2 goals. And Kevin De Bruyne with a goal. So that was that. And they beat England 2-0. And they beat Iceland 2-1. And the other nation fixture there, England beat them 2-1. So they're on form. They've been winning a lot of games. It was that 2 draws there. And 1 loss, but that's just going 2 further ahead. And if we look at their team, let's have a quick look at the forwards. Lukaku is the main guy. He's the penalty taker. I think he's going to do really well in this tournament. Mertens is a good option. He is a good option. He's got a good record. However, the forward positions, we only got 3 forwards that we can pick, right? If there were 5, I think Mertens could be a fantastic option because he could be a big differential that could do really well in match day 1. So that's my opinion on that. It's just that we just got only 3 slots for the forwards. That's why we can't pick Mertens for now. The other strikers, I'm not really 100% sure on them. Kevin De Bruyne looks like he's not going to play match day 1. Don't know when he's going to be back. He'll probably be back like in match day 3 or something like that. But if you got a fractured nose, was it fractured eye socket or something, that takes time to heal, and you know it's too risky. You know, a ball hits you, you know, you want to heal that, right? So it all depends on how well he's doing. And Tielemans, that's why he's 10%, 6.5. We're basically just getting a player that actually plays, and he's a nailed-on starter. That's why a lot of people's going for him. Even I got him in my team. I haven't changed him up yet. Aiden Hazard, I don't know. I don't think that he's a good option. His brother, yes, he's a good option. He scored against Greece in the friendly match. I mean, this is just a friendly match, right? But with Kevin De Bruyne being out, it's just going to give him a chance to actually play more minutes. But 8 million, like I said before, we kind of got Belgium covers anyway. It's really up to you what you think. There's Carrasco that always could do well. 7 million. I just can't pinpoint, and I can't tell you exactly like who's going to play. That's the problem. With Tielemans, I know for a fact, like I can bet money that he's going to play. If he doesn't, then I'll be shocked. If we look at some of the defense there, I think Belgium could keep a lot of clean sheets. Daenerys played in their friendly as well, so really good option, 4.5. Thomas Munier, we know what he can do in the PSG days, and you know, he loves the tournament as well. It's like I said before, if we know that he starts, good option. You know, using a limitless chip, I'll definitely go for an expensive, explosive player like him. And for the goalkeeper, I think it's just too expensive. 6 million. I think you can get like a 4.5, 5 million goalkeeper that could get the same amount of points for a 6 million goalkeeper. I'm not saying that he's not going to do well. He will do well. It's just 6 million. I'm not too sure. It's really up to you, really. Let's move on to Croatia. So now let's have a look at their fixtures. They did draw against Armenia in a friendly match in the last game, 1-1. They won against Malta in a World Cup qualification 3-0. They beat Cyprus as well, 1-0. But they did lose against Slovenia, 1-0. If we go back a little bit more, Nations League, they lost against Portugal 3-2, although they did get a red card. And they did lose against Sweden 2-1. So those were the 6 fixtures there, the last 6. Let's have a quick look at their players. I think Kamaric is the main striker to kind of go for Croatia. 1% owned, 6.5. I think he could do really well. He scored a lot of goals. I think he's got around 20 goals for his club. You know, 6.5 is a fantastic cheap player to actually own, to use the money elsewhere to upgrade other players. We know what Modric and, you know, Perisic can do in these tournaments. Modric is a fantastic player, takes a lot of the set pieces. He can take along, you know, he could get an assist here and there. He might even get a goal. 8.5 though. I think there are more explosive players out there. But if you think that Croatia could do really well against England, then these are the options to kind of go for. For the defense, there's Vidal, there's always Lovren. I'm not too certain on their defense right now. I think there are better options. Same goes for the goalkeepers. If we move along to Czech Republic, there's a couple of options that I have in mind that could do really well. Let's have a look at their last 5 fixtures, let's just say. So in a World Cup qualification match, they lost against Wales, 1-0. Just to let you guys know that they will be playing tonight against Italy, so that will be a good one to watch. They drew against Belgium, 1-1. They won against Estonia, 6-2. They won against Slovakia, 2-0. And in the Nations League there, they won against Israel, 1-0. So a mixed bag of results there. Was that 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. Let's have a look at some of their players. Not really certain on their strikers right now. I think the midfielders are the one to kind of go for. Like Souček is the player that I'm looking at that could do really well. He's very good in the air. However, it's not really that exciting to kind of watch. That's the problem with Souček. There's Kufal that could do really well. We know his time at West Ham, and there is this other nailed on goalkeeper that plays for them. It's a 5 million, only 0% owned. So if you need another goalkeeper, it could be an option. If we move down to the list, yeah, just to let you guys know that I'm not going to go through every single player here. I'm going to try keeping this video short. For Denmark, let's have a look. So they drew against Germany in a friendly match 1-1. In the World Cup qualifications, they beat Austria 4-0. They beat Moldova 8-0. They beat Israel 2-0. This is all in the World Cup qualifications. They lost against Belgium 4-2, which they will be playing in the second match. And they won against Iceland 2-1. So really good results, to be honest with you, for Denmark. And if I keep going back, they beat England, they beat Iceland again. So they are actually on form. And I'm definitely interested in Denmark players. I know Wind is on everyone's radar. However, I cannot pinpoint on who is actually going to start for Denmark up front. However, Eriksen is a very good shout. He is expensive. This is the only problem. If it was a little bit more cheaper, if it was like 8 million, definitely in my team. Against Finland, with these like results in the last 5 or 6 fixtures, they've been doing really well. They're scoring a lot of goals. I'm definitely interested in Eriksen. And we're looking at their defense, you know, a 4.5, 23% owned player here that could do really well. I'm looking at like other options like Vestergaard that could do well, good in the air. You know, Eriksen crossing the ball, him scoring a goal could be a good option. And a goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel, 5 million, 20% owned. Very good goalkeeper. If you need a goalkeeper, he's definitely a good choice. So definitely investing in a Denmark player or players in match day 1 could be the way to kind of go. If we move ahead and go to England, and let's have a quick look at some of their fixtures. So they beat Austria 1-0 in a friendly match. They beat Poland in the World Cup qualifications 2-1. Albania 2-0. San Marino 5-0. Iceland 4-0. They did lose against Belgium 2-0. They did lose against Denmark in the Nations League 1-0. But then they beat Belgium there in the Nations League in match day 3 2-1. So recent matches, England's been doing really well, keeping a couple of clean sheets. I do want to invest in a England defense, but I just don't know who's going to start. That is the problem for England. For the forward positions, Harry Kane is the main guy, right? Harry Kane's the main guy. Rashford and Calvert-Lewin, they're going to come on, and yeah, they're not going to play full 90 minutes unless it's a fixture that they don't need to win. It's actually a tough group, to be honest with you. Mason Mount hasn't played a friendly game yet. We'll see what happens in the next few days. I think they got a little bit of a break because of winning the Champions League and so on. Foden as well. Jack Grealish played 7.5, but is he playing? The problem with England is I don't know who's going to start. I know that Harry Kane is, but midfielders, I don't know. That's the problem. If we can nail on these players, perfect. Saka scored against Austria, but even for him, even though he scored, is a friendly match, right? It doesn't make a lot of difference. He's just got to continue to do this. 6.5 though, that's actually quite cheap. If you can tell me that Saka's going to play, he might actually be in my team. This is the problem with England. Like for the defense as well, now who's going to play? But I am looking at Trippier. That is a good option. Trent Alexander-Arnold is out of the Euro tournament. So I was going to say Euro fantasy football, but actually he is. So Trippier could be a good option because he's 5 million. So I'm just going to add Trippier into the team just for the fun of it. The goalkeeper situation, I'm not really too fussed about the goalkeeper for England, but you know, Trippier and Harry Kane could be the two players to kind of go for. We'll see what happens in the next few days. And let's have a look at Finland, look at their fixtures. So in the last few fixtures for Finland, they lost against Sweden. This was a friendly match, I think. Yeah, they lost against Switzerland 3-2. In the World Cup qualifications, they drew against Ukraine. They drew against Bosnia. They lost against Wales 3-1. They won against Bulgaria 2-1. So not the best recent fixtures, although they have been doing better further ahead. But I like to look at the last 5 fixtures or so. I don't know what's happening with Pukki. Is he out? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm not really seeing him around. I'm hearing a lot of like rumors. And to be honest with you guys, I cannot pick any other player. There are a lot of 4 million defenders that could do really well, but I don't really want to suggest any of the players except for this goalkeeper that is 4 million that plays. Now, hear me out. I am not sitting here and saying that he's going to keep a clean sheet against Denmark. No way. However, you never know what can happen if he managed to keep, I don't know, save a penalty or keeps a clean sheet or saves a lot of shots. Let's just say he does that, right? Then I'm actually ahead of everyone else who's picked the goalkeeper that is around 6 million because of this price tag, because I'm using the money elsewhere. And don't forget that we still got another goalkeeper to switch him with. So if he doesn't do well, he gives us like -2. We can switch him with another goalkeeper that we have in a substitute bench. So that's why a lot of people are going for him. So that's the reason for that. If we look at France, let's just have a look at their fixtures. They won against Wales 3-0, although Wales did receive a red card. They won against Bosnia there in the World Cup qualifications 1-0. Kazakhstan 2-0. They drew against Ukraine 1-1. They won against Sweden in the Nations League 4-2. And they did beat Portugal 1-0 in the Nations League. So very good results there. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins, 1 draw in the last 6. That's actually really good. We know what France can do. However, this fixture against Germany, we don't know what they're going to do, right? That's the problem. Of course, Mbappe is the main player to kind of go for from France. You know, I think he scored and he assisted. Benzema is a good option. Griezmann is a good option. You know, for like match day 2, of course we're going to bring in Mbappe. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead, press that limitless chip and bring lots of French players. And bring maybe Popper in there as well, because there's no limit. So that's the kind of the idea, right? Pogba is a great option. Kante is there because it's 5.5. You know, a player that will play when he comes back. I don't know about the other midfielders out there. For the defenders, very, very good options here. Pavard, I really like. Varane, I like all of these players, right? However, they are very, very expensive. If they lose their clean sheet, yeah, I mean, yeah, that will kind of hurt because of a 6 million player. I guess they might keep a clean sheet against Germany. We just don't know. You know, it might be explosive, but there might be better options just for this week, for this match day. Let's just say that's the issue there. If we move ahead and we go to Germany, let's have a look at some of their fixtures. So they drew against Denmark in a friendly match 1-1. They lost against North Macedonia 2-1 in a World Cup qualification match. They won against Romania. They won against Iceland 3-0. They lost against Spain 6-0. I was going to say 6-0 in the Nations League. They won against Ukraine 3-1. And we go a little bit more back. They drew against Switzerland 3-3. They beat Ukraine again 2-1. So mixed bag. They have been winning games, but there has been some shocks, like the Spain fixture there 6-0, and losing against North Macedonia was a massive shock in itself. So there has been some really crazy results there for Germany. If we look at the forward position there, I mean, Muller is a great option. He always does well, but I'm not too sure. Kimmich is the only one that I would probably go for match day 1, to be honest with you guys. So I'm just going to add him here because he's 6 million. You know, he's on some of the set pieces. I think he could get some kind of return. And plus, we're looking at, you know, match day 3 as well. Really good fixture here against Hungary. So if we like aim into that, you know, if we are using limitless chip and we're trying to like hold the wild card, you know, we might have a really good team for that match day. If we look at the defense, like I said, like there's a really good options here. We've got Hummels, we've got Gosens, very good player that could do well, but for this match day, I'm not too sure right now. Although we will be looking at them in match day 3 and so on. Hungary is it's actually been doing really well. Really good results here. Andorra, they won 4-1. San Marino 3-0. They drew against Poland 3-3. They won against Turkey 2-0. And they drew against Serbia 1-1. So they haven't lost in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 last 5 fixtures. And actually so on. It just continues. So they are on form. And they could be a shock to this tournament. But I just can't pinpoint any players that I would really go for. A lot of us are attacking this fixture. But it might backfire. But we will see. At least we'll do this together. So we're just going to move on. We're going to go Italy. Now, Italy, they got the first fixture against Turkey, okay? We will know what the lineup is here before the deadline. And once we know, then we will make our final decisions right in the last minute. We don't know which midfielder will start. We know a couple of defenders that will do well or will start. But we want an attacking player. Like even this player here. I don't know if he's going to start. That is 7 million. 22% owned. If he does, maybe I'll go for him because he's highly owned. And, you know, if he does well, then I will be behind if I don't have him in my team. You know? But I can't sit here and tell you which one is going to start. That's the problem. If I can, then I'll do that. Maybe in tonight's friendly matches, we'll go through it and maybe we might get some idea. Okay? So I'm just going to move away from Italy for now and just let's go for Netherlands. So let's have a look at their fixtures. So in a friendly match against Scotland, they drew 2-2. Gibraltar, they beat them 7-0 in their World Cup qualification match. They beat Latvia 2-0. They lost against 4-2 against Turkey. They beat Poland 2-1. And they beat Bosnia 3-1. So good results. What's that? 1 defeat and 1 draw in the last 6. It's actually not too bad. They are on form. Memphis Depay is the player to kind of go for. He has to be in my team. 10 million, 15% owned. He scored in the friendly match against Scotland. 2 goals, really good goals as well. Good free kick, a good first goal. So definitely in my team. For the midfielders, look, I know people will go for Wijnaldum. He is a good option, but I don't know. I don't know right now. 8 million, I think I can use that elsewhere to kind of cover another team. I think bringing in Memphis Depay kind of will be enough, to be honest with you, and good captain option. And very good choices here. Cheap choices. Obviously, we've got Vindal. I think that's how you pronounce it. 4.5. However, if Blind is back, there might be a problem with his starting. And Tim Krul is a player that I'm looking at. That is 4.5. He played in the last friendly match. Hopefully, they plays in the next one. Then we'll know that he will be the main player. But that was my thoughts on Netherlands. North Macedonia. Now, I don't know many players, but I do know one player that could do really well. Alioski. He's a Leeds United player from the Premier League, 4% owned, 4.5. He is the one to kind of go for from this team. Let's have a look at their fixtures. So they drew against Slovenia 1-1 in a friendly match. They beat Germany 2-1 in a World Cup qualification match. They beat Liechtenstein 5-0. They lost against Romania 3-2. They lost against Armenia 1-0 in a Nations League game. They beat Estonia 2-1. And if I keep going back, they beat Georgia as well there in a World Cup. So a mixed bag of results there. But I think Alioski is kind of the one to kind of go for if you're going for a cheap player that could do well. He's kind of the main player in that nation there that actually could get some returns. If we move to Poland, let's have a look at some of their results. So they drew against Russia 1-1 in a friendly match. They lost against England in a World Cup qualification match 2-1. They beat Andorra 3-0. They drew against Hungary 3-3 in a World Cup qualification match there. They lost against Netherlands 2-1. They lost against Italy 2-0. So, yeah, they're not really on fire. They are losing a lot of games. So this is kind of a concern for me, to be honest with you, because I like to look at the last 6 fixtures at least. I know that they probably did well like 6 or 7 months ago, but it's good to look at the last 6. Lewandowski is the main player. 16% owned, scored more than 46 goals or something. That's crazy. 16% owned, 11.5. Decent fixture there for Poland. However, it's just too expensive, right? It's too expensive, and the team itself is not strong enough. That could, I mean, they're going to really dominate. Like, for Bayern Munich, we know what they can do. They've got a fantastic team, and they always dominate every single club, and they do well. They provide a lot of good key passes to Lewandowski to do well. So I'm not too sure about Poland right now, but Bednarek is a good option. So if you want to go for a player that could do well, maybe keep a clean sheet, there we go. Their goalkeeper is a choice that I'm looking at. Szczesny there or Fabianski. We just need to find out which one is actually going to start for the Euros. So we will have to see on that. If we move down to the list, we're getting there, guys. We are getting there, and that is Portugal. Portugal's last few fixtures. So they will be playing tonight against Spain, so watch out for that. Luxembourg in a World Cup qualification match. They won them against 3-1. They drew against Serbia 2-2. They beat Azerbaijan 1-0. They beat Croatia 3-2. They lost against France 1-0. So mixed bags there, but in these kind of fixtures, Jota did actually really, really well. And then he got himself injured, but he's back from injury, so hopefully that he will play tonight and he can show what he's made of. 8.5, 10% owned there. Really good fixture against Hungary. The main guy is Ronaldo. He is the player that is going to try his best to do well. We know what he can do. 12 million though. That's very expensive. However, he is like the last result of your captain option to return. Definitely a player to kind of bring into our teams. Look, Bruno Fernandez is a fantastic player. Like, we know that he can do well, but I think there are, I wouldn't say better options. It's just cheaper options that could get the same amount of returns, like Jota, Bernardo Silva, Felix. If Jota is a starting player, he's definitely in my team. So I'll definitely recommend him. Now, looking at, let's just remove one player here. Looking at their defense, we've got Diaz and Cancelo. Both of these players are very, very good. They could do well, especially like Cancelo, that plays a little bit more further and more attacking than Diaz. I think the defense is Jose Font and Diaz in that central defense. And there is Mendes as well that played a couple of games. Listen, if he is a starter, if we start seeing him play in the friendly matches quite a lot of like minutes, he will be in my team. I know Semedo is an option as well for them, so they might switch it around. Maybe Cancelo might play in that position, but we've got to watch out for this 4.5 player. If he plays, if he's got a lot of minutes under his belt, it's definitely a good option. There's Patricio as well. If you want to go for an expensive goalkeeper, that could do well as well. Now, if we move on to Russia, there isn't much options, to be honest with you, from Russia. We know like Cheryshev and Golovin, players like this that has done really well in the past. Right now, for match day 1, I am not too sure right now. So we're just going to wait and see. Listen, if they do perform, we can always get them in our teams. You know, we've got a lot of chips available for us. But let's just have a look at their last few fixtures. But let's go through their fixtures. So they drew against Poland in a friendly match 1-1. They lost against Slovakia 2-1 in a World Cup qualification match. They did beat Slovenia 2-1. They did beat Malta 3-1. They lost against Serbia in the Nations League 5-0. And they lost against Turkey in the match day 5 of Nations League 3-2. So, mixed bag of results, but we just got to wait and see for Russia, to be honest with you. Now, if we go to Scotland, there's a couple of players that I wanted to mention, but let's have a look at their results. So, in the last game, they drew against Netherlands 2-2. In a friendly match, they won against Faroe Islands 4-0 in a World Cup qualification match. They drew against Israel 1-1. They drew against Austria 2-2. They lost against Israel 1-0 in the Nations League. And they lost against Slovakia 1-0 in the Nations League there as well. So mixed bag of results there. But the main players to kind of go for is Tierney and Robertson. Both of these players could do really well. But their fixture is not the best in the world. However, they can always keep a clean sheet. These players are the players that I would go for. Now, if we move to Slovakia, this is another nation that I am not too sure of. We're just going to wait and see. I need to do more research on this nation. I mean, Hamsik is the only player that I know really that could do really well. But let's go through some of their results. They drew against Bulgaria 1-1 in a friendly match. They won against Russia 2-1. They drew against Malta 2-2. They drew against Cyprus 0-0. They did lose against Czech Republic 2-0 in a Nations League game. And in another Nations League, they won against Scotland. So, yeah, not the best results in the world. And like the players, we just got to wait and see. I don't really want to suggest any players right now that I don't know of. Like I said, we've got to check these friendlies and we're going to see how well it all goes for them. For Spain, there's a couple of good options here, and let's have a look at some of their fixtures. Now, they will be playing Portugal tonight, so please check that out. But they won against Kosovo 3-1. The last game, Georgia there, 2-1 against them. They drew against Greece 1-1. This was all in the World Cup qualification matches. They beat Germany 6-0. They drew against Switzerland 1-1. And yeah, that was both of them. Those was in the Nations League. And if when you look at some of the players here, now this player is on everyone's radar. However, I don't know is Moreno is going to play. 11% owned, 6.5. Look, if we do see him start in the striker position for Spain, definitely great option. 6.5, fantastic. So we're just going to wait and see. Morata is pretty much the main guy for Spain up front. But for the midfielders, there's a lot of options. We've got Ferran Torres, definitely on my radar. He's in my team, 8 million player that could do really well. He's explosive. He's actually been on form recently. And the other player that I wanted to mention is Olmo. We already looked at him, 7 million, so he's more cheaper. Only 2% owned, a massive differential. Maybe even bringing both of these players into your team could be the way to go. against Sweden as well. Really good fixture for them to do really well in. Now, if we look at the defense, I think this defender is going to be a must-have. 4.5, a player that starts. Well, good to see in the friendlies, obviously, but it looks like he is 70% owned, and you know, getting a Spanish cover could be the way to kind of go for. Alaba is the one to kind of watch. I think he could be a big differential. I know he's selected by 10% of managers out there, but I think like hardcore players won't go for him. But it could do well. He's been doing really well recently for Spain, getting a lot of like clean sheets and getting some attacking returns. And the goalkeeper situation, I'm not too certain on what's going to happen there. But those were the best players there that I mentioned. So if we move down here, we've got Sweden. We've got a couple more nations to go through. So this video is going to be longer than usual, I'm afraid. But I just want to get everything out there so you guys can see. And yeah, so in the last couple of fixtures for Sweden, they beat Finland 2-0 in a friendly match. They beat Estonia as well, 1-0. They beat Kosovo in the World Cup qualifications, 3-0. They beat Georgia, 1-0. They lost against France in the Nations League game, 4-2. But they did beat Croatia 2-0 against Croatia. Did I say Croatia twice? Anyways, so they are on form. Like, recent games there, they only lost against France 4-2, although they scored 2 goals there. So, but the players that they have, I'm not too certain on their players right now. It's just got to be wait and see on who's going to do well. There's Lindelof. But for match day 1, like, if we're all going to get Spanish players, then I don't know why we're going to go ahead and bring Sweden players. Maybe later on. I'm not too certain they're going to do well against Spain. So we're going to look at Switzerland. We're going to have a quick look at their fixtures. So they won against Liechtenstein there, 7-0 in a friendly match. 2-1 against USA. 3-2 against Finland. In a World Cup qualification match in Lithuania, they beat them 1-0. Bulgaria 3-1. So really good results, to be honest with you. They're doing pretty damn well. Shaqiri is a player that I know and could do really well. He's on set pieces like corners and free kicks. He does well in the tournaments, to be honest with you. And 7 million is actually not bad. I think as Wales, there could be a good fixture for them to do really well in. There is a defender here that is actually on penalties, Rodriguez, that is 5.5, 2% owned. So if you want a defender that could get some big returns, he could be the one to kind of go for. And let's have a look at the strikers. Not too certain on them right now, but we've got Sommer here that is 5 million goalkeeper that could be very useful for our teams. So if you don't have a goalkeeper and you want a goalkeeper that could do really well, he could be the one to kind of go for. If we move on to Turkey, there's a couple of options here, but let's have a look at their fixtures. So let's go through their results. So you got Turkey there against Moldova, beating them 2-0 in a friendly match. They drew against Guinea 0-0. Azerbaijan, they beat them 2-1 in a World Cup qualification match. They drew against Latvia. They beat Norway 3-0. They beat Netherlands 4-2. So really, really good results for them. They are actually on form. But let's start with Yilmaz, the main player for Turkey that is going to get the goals and return us a lot of points. 13% owned there, 8 million price tag. So it's actually quite expensive. But the fixture against Italy is actually quite difficult. Italy has been performing really well, keeping a lot of clean sheets. But yeah, like I mentioned before, wait for this deadline. We will find out the lineup. Then yeah, we could just make our final decision there. Because there's a couple of midfielders there that I'm quite interested in. Maybe like Yusuf there or Tufan. That could be a good option. Could be a big differential because they're 0%. Like if these players actually starts, I might even captain them in the first game just to try my luck. Their goalkeeper as well is a good option. That is 4.5, only 1% owned. So this could be like a cagey match. Like, you know, Italy is not a goal scoring machine. They're not going to score a lot of goals. They're going to keep clean sheets. And maybe this one might be a 0-0. That would be perfect. So, yeah, that's some of the options there. Let's have a look at Ukraine. Ukraine has actually been performing really well. So let's have a look at their results. So the last game was against Northern Ireland. They beat them 1-0. The other one was against Bruyne, 1-1. There's a lot of 1-1s here. Ukraine drew against Kazakhstan, 1-1 in the World Cup qualifications, 1-1 with Finland, 1-1 with France. There is a lot of 1-1s. So there's a lot of draws here. So I'm not too certain on what's going on there. However, I've got to mention Zinchenko that plays a little bit more further and plays in the midfield role for them. That could be a fantastic option to get some results. So, like I mentioned before, if I don't know the players, I'm not going to talk about them because I don't think that's right. I think right now they're not really the best options for match day 1 because most of us are trying to bring in Netherlands players. So I'm just going to skip them for now. We just got to see what happens. And obviously we can always pick these players up later on because we need more information on them, to be honest with you. I just don't want to go randomly and just pick one player up. But for Wales, a couple of options here, like Gareth Bale, that could do really well. Let's have a look at their results. So they lost against France 3-0 in a friendly match, although they did get a red card. In the other match against Czech Republic, they did beat them 1-0 in the World Cup qualifications, but they received a red card as well. They love getting a red card, isn't it? There's a lot of red cards here. Against Mexico, they beat them 1-0, and they lost against Belgium 3-1. We go a little bit more further back. They beat Finland 3-1. There was a red card in there as well, but not for Wales. And Wales beat Ireland 1-0 in the Nations League. So they've been getting some results. That's good. The player that I wanted to kind of look at is Daniel James. He is an explosive player. He is so fast. I think he's a good option. So, please watch out for him. Gareth Bale is the main guy, but 9.5, that's actually quite expensive. Although, decent fixtures, to be honest with you, to get a return. So, Wales could do something here and can surprise us. So anyways, that was pretty much it. So I just went through all of the nations, just picked out some players to kind of help you guys out, giving you guys my thoughts, looking at some of their recent fixtures, seeing how well they did. And yeah, this video is a long video, but I like doing these things. And don't worry, I will be creating smaller videos, around 10 to 15 minutes, or even just around that 10 minutes mark. But yeah, my next video will be looking at my team again. There's a couple of changes that I did that I wanted to show you guys. Don't forget, there is a lot of friendly matches that we have to go through. And, that will definitely help us out to kind of see which players will play and so on. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you guys like this kind of stuff. But yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. Please do subscribe and drop a like on the video as it helps my channel out a lot. And that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining, guys. And I'll see you guys next time. See ya.